to spend a moment each day asking yourself this question. What would today look like if it were a good day? There is no ideal day for any single one of us. Because as David reminded you and me this morning, I am not a single thing. We've got this word behind me called momentum. You came to a program called Build Momentum. And by the end of the presentation, by the end of today, I will hope that you have found a little bit more. So if you open up that copy of my book, it's called Your Best Just Got Better, and we'll talk about the subtitle to that. So we're going to write that word now underneath that in 3 to 5 bullet points. What I'm going to ask you to do is to come up with other words that remind you of the word momentum. What does that word mean to you? 60 months from now, your work, your world, your bank account, the movies you see, the restaurants you eat in, the books you download, all of those things will change based on who you introduce yourself to. So who knows? That could be the person that changes your life over the next 60 months. If I am going to be the best leader I can be, how do I see that playing itself out? And I understand that there are certain groups, certain sub-leaders, certain leaders within the leadership who they need to see what was said. And here's how it sounds, folks. Someone's explaining something. They see things like, when they say things like, it looks good to me, Jason, I can picture that. Where is this going? I go, wow, they're a visual information processor. You'll hear from someone else, they'll say, I don't see what you're talking about. I can't picture it. And then the person who's a strong auditory will say, how many times do I have to tell you? Just remind anybody of anything. Why I do what I do, so that something happens. Early on, clarify the recalibrating so that. Your so that is different this decade than it was a decade ago. Mine's changed through the decades. Jason, why were you a teacher? Easy, so that my students could see beyond Santa Barbara. Recognize the influencers in your life, both your professional life and your personal life. And then we want you to identify specifically how these people are influencing you to be, to act, to create, to innovate. There is a very high chance that the current life experience you're having is a direct result, at the minimum direct result, of the people who you've let influence how you think. Frances Hesselbein will turn 99 years old on November 1st. And I asked her about leadership, and she put the coffee saucer in the middle of the table, and then she started grabbing a glass and a plate, another plate, the bread basket. Then she started grabbing silverware, a fork and a knife, another fork and a spoon. And what she was doing was she's connecting all of the tableware utensils. And she said, I'm just the person in the middle. And my job is to connect the greatness around me.
You say one way you can make sure that you're really enjoying your downtime is by not working more hours, but using the time we have in a better way. So tell me how you do that.
Gosh, I love how you put that, Kay, because for me, the hours that we have aren't going to be any more in a week or a month, and they aren't going to be any more in the past. So what I take a look at is, instead of doing the work-life balance, I really see it as a work-life blend. And for me, the piece of advice that I like to share is what we can do single tasking, what I call monotasking, can be a 4-to-1 return.
So how does that make sense? Career coach Jason Womack is here to explain how to make our best even better. Jason, welcome to Live at 9. Good to have you here this morning.
I think there's a time and a place for everything. And one of the things that I've found is that action follows attention. And so if the first thing I do is start consuming new, then those best laid plans of mice and men, those things that I'd thought about doing yesterday that I didn't have time for, all of a sudden are getting consumed from the get-go.
For many people, especially those traveling on business, flying can be frustrating, it can be stressful, and productivity expert Jason Womack has several strategies to help you make the most of your time.
When we are flying, you say you should really maximize everything, so you have to work less when you're at home relaxing.
Well, the environment's almost conducive to being productive on the road, April. I can, if I'm prepared, I could write a thank you card while I'm waiting for them to close the airplane door. I can read a magazine article while I'm waiting for us to be able to turn on our computers in that first 10,000 feet of takeoff.
Right.
All right, so we're back at work after the holidays. We walk right into this long to-do list. Of course, lots of emails, phone messages to return.
It might seem impossible to kind of get a handle on all that, but it is not.
Jason Womack wrote the book. It's called Your Best Just Got Better. Work smarter, think bigger, make more.
The first thing I take a look at is most people think their productive day starts in the morning on their way to work and the morning commute. I actually coach them to start their productive day today, yesterday. So at the end of the day today, actually stop and think about what would a successful tomorrow look like.